Hey, everybody, and welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. This is Katie Weaver, and I'm here with my co anchor and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. I've had some. We're doing Jeffrey Dahmer this week, you guys. It's not this episode, but we are doing Jeffrey Dahmer this week. So I've been deep down. I've always been deep down in Jeffrey Dahmer rabbit hole. I will admit I have been fascinated by him. I have watched tons of documentaries and read about him, and that's where I've been. My wife has been cooking and doing laundry, and I've been watching Jeffrey Dahmer documentaries this morning. So it is the life of a true crime podcaster. What can I say?
This is true. I made a joke this morning about this case, the Jeffrey Dahmer case, that my husband thought was super inappropriate. I thought it was funny. I then repeated it to my son because I still think I'm funny. He was horrified. He said, "Don't you dare say that on the air." So I'm going to say it on the air.
Please do. Come on. If you can't laugh about this crazy shit, I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah, partly because I'm getting used to getting mean notes from you guys, but partly because I thought it was funny. I know it's horrible and it's not funny, but in the true crime world, we get kind of jaded. I know we get jaded. When I'll be like, yeah, telling my kids about a case, and I'm like, yeah. So then he cut her head off and stuffed it in a suitcase and put it in the trunk of his car, and they'll be like, what? Oh, is that that's bad. Yes, that is bad, But anyway,
right. But it just gets kind of happenstance when you're talking about it all the time.
It's true. So here's what I said. If you're horrified, it's okay. Tell me. It's fine. I can take it. He said to my husband, yeah, for our joint case this week, we're doing a cooking show.
Oh, God.
And he said,
oh, yeah.
Really? And I said, yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. That's not funny.
Come on. True crimers are going to find that hilarious. Okay.
I think so. Look, I don't think anything that Jeffrey Dahmer did was funny. And I definitely feel for the victims of his families. And I'm not trying to make light of that. But sorry, I think that was funny.
I agree. I guess we are jaded true crimers now.
Yeah. So then I repeated the joke to Micah. Yeah. And he said, really? A cooking show? Why? Then I dropped the Dahmer bomb, and then I got told off.
Let me tell you. Okay, so I had a weird one. My son said, what are your cases today? And I said, oh, we're doing Jeffrey Dahmer. And he goes, should I know who that is? I was like, what? Yes, you should know who that is. And I told him who he was. And I don't know. He was rather
so that he could be horrified too.
I know. He's like, oh, gross. And I'm like, well, yeah. Mm-hmm. But pretty famous and one to really study because Dahmer is kind of in a league of his own,
mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. He's a born psychopath.
Yeah,
we don't really have that many of those.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, the other thing I've been doing, if you want to get a little more wholesome, I showed you guys in a video last week, I think, of a lanyard I was starting to make. This is a beaded, hold it up so you can see it. It is a beaded woven bracelet.
That is gorgeous.
Isn't it pretty? It's actually for you. I made it for you.
Oh.
So I hope you like it because I'm bringing it to your house today.
I totally like it and I can't wait. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I just think it's so pretty. I'm really having a lot of fun with this. So, I know you get a project going and then you're like, Rhonda's like, are you ever coming to bed? And I'm weaving away. Well, this is almost done. So I think I'm going to, anyway, kind of in that place right now, which I'm really enjoying.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a good place to be.
Yes, it is.
Especially here in Idaho in early spring. I'm calling it early spring to be hopeful. Yeah. But the weather has been delusional. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it is actually sunny today and it's supposed to warm up a little more in the next couple of weeks. But this is when we get the most uncomfortable, because the days are getting longer. The sun is shining more, but it's still really cold outside. In fact, we had our coldest night of the whole year a couple of nights ago. It was -16 with wind chill, and we haven't been that cold this whole year. Oh. And so I'm doing a lot of staring out the window, and I can't wait. Plus, Softball tryouts were this weekend for my daughter, who's a senior. So softball's starting. Her first game is supposed to be in 2 weeks. I don't know how, but in other communities,
play in snowsuits and run in big boots. I don't know.
Yeah, it's in a community a little ways from here that has way less snow than us. So we still might be okay because there hasn't been a lot of snow this year. So the fields aren't going to be that wet. But however, what fields? Because we don't even have a field this year.
Right.
There are fields being constructed and haven't been finished because the girls in my daughter's school don't take any kind of precedence at all in their sports. And believe me, I have screamed to the rooftops. I have bitched out everyone I can think of repeatedly. I've asked nicely. I have made a splash on the internet. I've done everything I can think of. And she finally threatened a Title IX investigation. And that's what finally got these fields even in process of being built. But in the meantime, they're telling us we won't have fields this year. We're going to have to use a local park or borrow a field from another high school. So that's really disappointing to hear. But, at this point, it is what it is. And this is my last kid in high school. And I cannot tell you how glad I am. I'm so ready to be done with
this crap.
I'm very ready to be done with this school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little too not like us. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, well, we do have a case today. So the Dahmer case will come out on Tuesday. It'll come out tomorrow. So that was just a teaser because we're both way down the rabbit hole of it. But we do have a really important case today. This was a listener request. I'm going to present this case to Christy, and then she's going to give us a psychic reading on what she thinks happened to her. So this is the case of Michelle Riedenbach.
Okay.
So Michelle went missing in 1981. She was 16. I'm going to give you the Charlie Project info first so we can be really clear. So she went missing on the 6th of October, 1981 from Zelienople, Pennsylvania. Or Zelienople? Goodness. I don't know either. I'm going to say Zelienople. If that's wrong, I apologize. She was born in December 29th, 1964. Again, she was 16 when she went missing. She was 5 feet tall, 110 pounds. She was wearing a wine-colored V-neck sweater, blue jeans, and a gold necklace with a knot pendant. Okay. Dark blonde hair, blue eyes. Her nickname is Shelly. Her friends all called her Shelly and her family. She was a heavy smoker. You sure wouldn't see that these days at 16.
Well, you would, but
yeah,
that would be someone on probation.
Yeah, not quite so. Not quite so common. She did also wear glasses. Okay. So the day she went missing, she was sick. She'd woken up that morning not feeling good, talked to one of her best friends and said she didn't know if she was going to come to school. But as it happened, it was senior picture day. And so she decided she better get up and get ready and go. So she went ahead and went to school, and she went to Seneca Valley High School. So she went to school, and her mother says that they left. Mom was getting ready for work, and Shelly was getting ready for school, and they left at the same time. That was the last time her mom saw her. So she went to school all day, had her classes, finished up class at 3, had her pictures taken, and then went to work. So she had a part-time job at a place called Melden's Appliance Store in Zelienople, Pennsylvania. So she worked with a good friend, a friend named Kim. They both had a job writing advertisements and addressing envelopes. So they had a kind of an office job, and they were really close. They'd chat and visit while they worked. They hung out on the weekends. They were good friends. But on that day, Kim was sick. It turns out, both of the girls had a bad cold, essentially. So she says that Shelly called her while she was working and to check on her and see how she was doing, told her that she wasn't feeling good either, and that she thought she was going to walk to a nearby pharmacy and get some cold medicine. So about 4:30, she leaves Melden's, and she left all of her stuff there, they think, because left on her desk was her purse, some school books, her cigarettes, and all of the files she'd been working on. And her boss said it wasn't like her at all to leave her stuff laying out like that, or like all of her files and stuff. That wasn't normal at all. I mean, it just looked like she was coming right back. It is a little strange. It may be a little strange that she left her purse because she was going to buy something, but maybe she put some cash in her pocket. But also, she left her cigarettes, and her friends thought that was a little weird because she was a chain smoker. And basically, if she was outside, she had a cigarette in her hand. But maybe she took one with her, and left it back there. There's a lot we don't really know, except for that. She ran into her brother in the grocery store parking lot. So right next door to her job at Melden's, there was a Super Duper grocery store, and her brother worked there, her brother Vince. And he was out in the parking lot gathering carts and saw her, and they had a short conversation. And she told him she wasn't feeling good and was going to go get some medicine. And so that he went back into work, and she kept going. So about 4:55, so that was at 4:30, about 4:55, her mom, Gloria, stops by the store to see if she wants to go with her to the hospital. So she had an older sister that had had a stroke and was partially paralyzed and was in the hospital. Her name was Sherry, and they were really close. And basically, since this happened, she had been spending a lot of time at the hospital with her sister, and even the weekend before, she'd finally been able to go outside for the first time since the stroke, and she was there to push her wheelchair and to, help take care of her. And it had been really hard on her what happened to her sister, but she was rehabbing and was getting better, but she'd spent a lot of time the last few weeks in the hospital with her. But anyway, so mom stopped to say, "Hey, I'm going to go and visit Sherry. Do you want to go?" But she wasn't there. And so she decided, well, I don't really want to wait for her. I'll just go ahead and go. So she left. A little while later, her brother came back by to give her a ride home. So that was their typical arrangement, is once he got off work, he would swing by the furniture store and pick her up and take her home with him. And she wasn't there. And he thought, well, she wasn't feeling good. Maybe she already went home. So he went home, and she wasn't there either, obviously. So mom gets home from the hospital later that evening, and she's really surprised that she's not there. So this is not a kid that was unreliable at all, and was super tight with her family. And it just wasn't normal at all for her to not be there and for nobody to know where she went. So she thought, well, maybe she stayed at work to finish something up, and kept thinking at some point she'll call for a ride home, but she didn't. By 11, still no call, and mom's really starting to get worried. And so she starts calling around to some of her friends, and nobody has a clue. No one has heard from her. Okay. So then she thinks, well, maybe she's with a different friend that I don't know about. If she's out this late and she hasn't called or let us know where she is, then, maybe she's helping somebody. Maybe somebody's in some trouble or something. But still nothing. So finally the next morning, when there's still no call and no sign of Shelly, she calls the police, and they come over and they start a police report. Because she's a teenager, they initially treat it like a runaway. This happens way too much, as we know.
Way too freaking much. This part of this story, how many times have we reported on a story that they started it out like a runaway?
Yeah. Oh. Even though, of course, her family's like, this is just not like her at all, especially with what was going on with her sister Sherry, and even her friends were all like, there was no way she's running away,
Right. Yeah.
So when the police finally kind of start getting more into an investigation, some things they learn. They learned that she did, in fact, buy medicine at the pharmacy. The girl at the pharmacy remembers seeing her at about 4:40, and she does purchase medication. And literally, that person at the pharmacy and that stint in the pharmacy is the last anyone saw her. So they find out that her friend Beth had seen her right before she went to work, because she had they were having their pictures, right? So Shelley had left Beth with a hairbrush and a necklace for her to use for her picture. And she said she would bring him back to her later in the afternoon. And so Beth had swung by work to give her stuff, and she was not there. So she hung on to it and then went to her job at a gas station and didn't know where she was. So while she's at the gas station working, Shelley's boyfriend shows up and says that he and Shelley had plans that night later and that she hadn't shown up. And he wondered if she was with other friends or maybe she forgot, wondered if Beth knew where she was. And Beth, of course, had no idea where she was. So basically, everybody's kind of milling around asking each other, where is Shelley? Nobody seems to know. And so that's where the trail runs cold. Now, they did take a look at the boyfriend. He took a voluntary polygraph test, passed it. They really don't think that he had any involvement in it at all. And they had a great, stable relationship. Like, this was a stable kid, with a stable life. It just made no sense. There was nothing missing as far as her clothing, her stuff. Everything was either there at the work or at home. She had $100 she had been saving to buy a class ring. That was still there. Like, there was nothing gone that would indicate that she ran away or something like that.
Right.
So, of course, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and they never find her. So that's literally where it goes cold. There's just absolutely no anything. One thing, the owner of Meldens, a guy named Fred Landy, says that he had seen her in the parking lot of the Super Duper talking to somebody in a red car. And they think that was actually before she went to the pharmacy, like maybe right after she talked to her brother. And they actually did figure out who was driving the red car and talked to them and cleared them. Didn't think they had anything to do with it either. And that's basically it. There's nothing. It's a weird thing in this little community for someone to just vanish like that. And there were people around. It's not like she was in completely deserted areas. She wasn't. And so the police had felt like, gosh, if she got wrestled into a car or something, they really felt like somebody would have seen that. But it still just was really odd for her to just vanish like that. It made no sense. So that's the whole case. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Christy, I'm going to ask you to give me a reading on what you think actually happened to Michelle.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Christy Brower, podcaster and professional psychic. I have spent the last 14 years honing my skills as a psychic and a healer. I work on the Purple Ocean app. You can find it in any of the app stores. And I am available every day for video and chat readings. I specialize in pattern breaking, particularly in relationships, but really in any area of your life. If you're feeling stuck and like you can't move on or you can't let something go, I am the reader for you. That is exactly what I focus on. It's what I love to do. I love to help stuck people get moving, and I've been doing it for many years and have been very successful at it and can do that for you as well. So if you are having trouble letting go of a relationship or a fear or a challenge of any kind in your life, come see me at Purple Ocean and we will do everything we can, me and my guidance system and my intuition and you, because it's always a package deal that we work together, but we will find a way to break that pattern for you. So come see me over at Purple Ocean and let's break your patterns.
All righty. Well, we are back. And of course, we are talking about the Michelle Riedenbach case. Here on the screen, if you're watching the video, that is a missing poster for her with an age progression of what she would look like a few years down the road, because of course, when she disappeared, she was 16. So, Christy, what are your takeaways here? What do you think?
Well, okay, first of all, no one in her personal life had anything to do with this. This was a stranger kidnapping. It is exactly what the police thought it couldn't be because someone would have seen, but it was. I do feel that she was grabbed and pulled into a vehicle and kidnapped. I feel like her body is actually in Michigan.
Oh.
I just keep hearing Michigan, but that this was a just waiting for an opportunity to grab someone off the street. It was not targeted to her. She had no idea. It happened really fast, and she was thrown into a vehicle and taken immediately out of state. So they had no, this was long before everybody had security cameras out front. And so there was no cameras, but it was after she left the pharmacy, quite briefly after she left the pharmacy, she was grabbed by a man who it was one of those, this was a small town. Everybody knew each other. People felt comfortable and safe. And a man said, "Hey, come here. I need your help. Can you help me with something?" Mm-hmm. She got close to the van. He grabbed her and pulled her in, and boom, that was it. It took like 2 seconds. And I do feel he immediately left town with her, left the state with her. I do feel that he held her briefly, not very long. Mm-hmm. I don't feel that she lived more than a few days. I do feel this is a man who's done this who had done this before. Mm-hmm. And eventually I do feel he actually is in prison for another case that's similar. That was a stranger kidnapping like this, but he did hold her for a few days and sexually assault her and then kill her. Gosh, I hate this graphic stuff, but I do feel her body was burned and whatever was left was buried.
Okay.
And this is in Michigan, and it's in out in the sticks kind of place. Mm-hmm. But I feel like he has been arrested for and he'd done prison time for another case very similar to this one, but I don't feel that anybody ever connected her to him. Mm-hmm. And because they don't have a body, they just don't have any evidence to, and there's, because her remains were burned, there's not a lot left of what was buried. And so unfortunately, I don't feel that she will ever be found or identified, but the perpetrator who did this was eventually stopped for a different case.
At least there's that.
Yeah.
Her mom, Gloria, had tried to get Unsolved Mysteries to cover her case. Mm-hmm. But they told her that they had so many people lining up trying to get their family members on Unsolved Mysteries that she'd be better off if she tried to start a petition and get lots of people to show interest in it. And she just could never quite get that interest going. And then she passed in 1999. And so without ever really knowing what happened to her daughter. Right. But she always tried. She continued to check in with the police. And, the crazy thing is with this case, they did follow up every lead that they could, but there wasn't much, No. And unfortunately, they just, over the years, as the police staff have turned over a few times, multiple times over these many years, there's just not been a lot of focus left on it because they have literally no evidence. Right. And so, her siblings still, there is a Facebook page for her that just only has a few posts on it. And it looks like the last post was made in 2010, where there actually was a candlelight vigil for her in 2010. Mm-hmm. And so her family members have, of course, never forgotten, and continue to, and her friends, her old friends, and they all continue to light a candle for her and think about her. Of course they do,
But to vanish without a trace like this, it's so scary. And it, fortunately, there are a lot of things. It's not like it doesn't happen now. It does still, but it happens less because of security cameras all around in an area. Had this happened now, there probably would have been a camera at least pick up something. It would have given them some kind of something to go on. But there just isn't anything. They're not ever going to find her. Which I'm so sorry to say that. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Very, very sad for her family. And they were going through such a hard thing at the time. with her sister's stroke, and
Yeah.
it's just really sad that that happened. Her friends all said that she was so tight with her family. In fact, one of the friends, Kim, had said that the weekend before they were hanging out and made a plan to go. They changed their plans and decided to go to a movie or do something else. She couldn't get a hold of her mom, and she insisted on going all the way out to her house to leave a note so that her mom knew exactly where she was and what she was doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the when they were interviewing her friends, they were like, this isn't a person who runs away. You know, it's not a person who would just walk away from her life or just, you know, willy-nilly run away like that.
No, she thought she was going to the pharmacy to get medicine and go right back to her job. That's what she was doing.
Yeah.
That was absolutely her intent. And the timeline is so tight here because so many people saw her.
Yeah.
You know, the timeline on this is very tight, but it happened so fast. And she was immediately overpowered, and there was just nothing anyone could do.
No, very sad. Well, our hearts still go out to her family and her siblings and, you know, her friends, everyone who's still alive that remember her and remember the horror of losing her. So,
absolutely.
Well, this has been our first case this week, but of course we will be back tomorrow with Jeffrey Dahmer, and then we'll be back on Wednesday with our MMIW case for the week. Then, of course, Wednesday night, live case updates at 7 p.m. Mountain. And Thursday night, we will have the Psychic Hour, and that'll be the first show of the month, so it'll be marching orders for the month.
Yes, it will. Wow,
so
I can't believe it's already almost March. It's crazy. Or it is March. It is March. What am I saying? It is March.
Yeah. It's wild, crazy stuff. So, yeah. And of course, you guys, if you want to suggest a case, like this one was a listener suggestion, you are more than welcome to leave us a note. You can do that by heading over to our website, truecrimeparanormalpodcast.com. And there is a spot there to send us a case suggestion. That's the best way to do it so we can keep them together. We have a very long list of them, and we do try to take one of those a week if we can and continue to work our way through them. So you're welcome to leave one for us there if you would like. And then head over to our website for all the stuff that we do, honestly. But we want to thank you all for being here and for all your support. And as always, like, share, follow, comment, however you feel drawn. This has been a production of True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Take care.